Well, thank you so much for having us. We're so excited about being here, aren't we, Clara? We've practiced what we're going to say, and we've just got so many fun things to tell you I think you're going to really enjoy. I'm going to start out with a story. But before I do that, I know you all like stories. I'm going to tell you that Clara is one of 14 grandchildren that I have. I have a lot of grandchildren. I have 2 in college. And Clara's kind of, she's not the youngest by any means. We have a few below her, but she's kind of in the middle. And Clara has been in my art class. I'm an artist as well as a writer and an author. And Clara has been in my art class since she was 4 years old. And she, believe me, her art has gotten a lot better since she was 4 years old. Over there's a couple of her pieces. She likes to do eagles, and so she did that for her papa, which is my husband.
Wow.
And a watercolor. She's just started doing watercolor.
That was my first one.
That was your first eagle. Yeah, she's even gotten better since then. Her first watercolor. Her first watercolor turned out really well, and she's really enjoying that. So she does a lot of different kinds of art, and she loves to do it. And she's been a great, great student. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, and I think it will lead into what we're going to talk about today with having written a book together. About 9 or 10 years ago, my husband and I were in Colorado, and we were visiting our grandchildren. We have 7 grandchildren in Colorado. And my husband was going to speak at a conference in Denver, and when he was talking about this conference, my granddaughter, who was about 9 years old, how old are you all? About 7, 8, okay. Well, Autumn was about 9 years old at that time, and Autumn said, "Papa, I want to go with you. Can I go with you?" And Papa said, "Sure, you can go with me." But I said, "But Autumn, you need to put on a dress or something and look a little bit nicer. You need to get all dressed up." Really? I have to? Really? And I said, "Autumn, you've got to get dressed up. You've got to look a little bit better than what you do right now. If you're going to go to this, they're going to have a tea, and they're going to have a really good time with a lot of people, thousands of people, and you need to look a little bit better. So you have to go put on a dress." And she huffed to her bedroom, and she changed clothes, and she came out in a beautiful little dress and shoes, and her hair all fixed, and she came out looking like a nice, cute little girl, like I thought she should look at that time. So they went to the conference. They had a great time. Came back the next day. My husband and I had to fly out to Florida, and he was going to speak at another conference in Florida. Well, in the middle of the night in our hotel room, it was very dark and quiet, and I was sound asleep, but all of a sudden I woke up and I had this poem in my head. And this poem would not leave me, and it just kept building and building and building. And it was like a story, but it was so cute. And it was all about Autumn, who didn't want to dress up. She just had such a thing about that. And so this poem kept coming out about not wanting to dress up. And so from that poem, I went home, I wrote it out, I sent it to Autumn, and she called me and she said, "Nana, you need to write this as a book." And I said, "It's just a poem." She said, "No, it needs to be a book." And I said, "Right, I don't think so." And she said, "Really, Nana, you need to make this into a book." And I said, "Well, I'll think about it." So I thought about it. And I thought about it. And I thought about it. For over a year. It was a long time. And finally one day I said, I think I can do this. So I decided to get an illustrator to help illustrate the book. Do you know what that means, to illustrate? It does. Okay, what does it mean?
It means to, draw pictures.
It does. And does anybody know the difference between an illustrator and an artist? Yes. Not quite sure? Okay, yeah.
An author writes like write and then an illustrator that draws the pictures.
That's right. That's right. And yes,
Illustrators draw the pictures of books and artists draw pictures
Like paintings?
Like paintings.
yeah, that's very true. Illustrators have to show action like running and expression like happy or sad or sleeping or whatever. And an artist sometimes doesn't do that very well. So there's a big difference between just being an artist. I'm an artist, but I'm not an illustrator. So I needed to find an illustrator. So I did some scouting around and talking to a lot of people, and I came across the name of a lady named Rose Goss. And she lives in Pennsylvania, which is quite a ways from here. And I didn't know her, but I called her on the phone, and I talked to her by computer and phone, and ended up, we started to work together. And we had the best time developing I Wanna Be Me. This is the book, the first book that I wrote that was based on Autumn and the fact that she didn't want to dress up. But she does lots of things like playing outside, and Rose did a lot of great illustrations, and she plays with her brothers, and she likes to ride horses, and all of these fun things that Autumn liked to do, and that was according to her personality style. Every one of us is different. All of us have different personality styles, don't we? And so this one is about her style, and then I decided to do a whole series of books on personality styles. So each one is based on a different kind of style. This one was the first one, and then a year later, I decided to write one about a little boy called When I Am Quiet. This book is about Caleb, who is our oldest grandson, and he is quiet and a little more shy, not as outgoing, but he hears things that a lot of people miss because they're too busy and they're not listening. And we have to listen to hear and learn sometimes, don't we? And so this is all about how he listens and hears things that other people miss because they just don't listen. Well then, a year later, I told you I got lots of grandkids. I still have a lot of books to write. I wrote Pretty in Pink. This is about Eliza. Now Eliza is Caleb and Autumn's little sister, who's not so little anymore. But Eliza likes pink. Can you imagine? Look at all the pink in this book. There's lots of pink. Autumn's whole room is pink. And she likes to wear pink. And she wears bows in her hair and frills and lace. And all of that kind of thing is what we put in this book. Now, it was between these two books that I finally got to meet Rose Goss in person. She came to Nashville, or to our house in Franklin here, and she stayed with me for a few days, and I finally got to meet her face to face, and we had a great time. She's a super, super lady. Well then, about a year later, what did I do, Clara?
You made a book about me.
About Clara. Now, I have to tell you that my grandchildren in Colorado, 7 of them, call me Nana. But Clara calls me
Yaya.
Yaya. So I have 7 grandkids that call me Yaya, which is the Greek word for grandma, and 7 kids that call me Nana, and I bet all of you, most of you probably have a Nana in your life, don't you? You know Nana? Certainly. You have different names for your grandmas. Well, I'm Yaya to Clara. Okay, so this is I Know Who I Am. Now this book I'm going to read to you because this will give you a little bit of an idea of how Clara works. What is her personality? She's going to read it. I'm going to show you the pictures so you can see what Rose did with her pictures, okay? By the time we got to this book, she used a little bit more computer generation too, so some of the pictures are done with computer too to make them a lot more colorful, and she used photographs and so forth that this is an actual, from a photograph of Clara. But it tells you a little bit about her, and then we're going to tell you what we did together, okay? So Clara's going to read this to you. Okay, go ahead.
I want to be the leader. I want to be the star. I'll entertain and make you laugh no matter who you are.
Oops, I'm not going fast enough. Go ahead, Clara. Go ahead, sorry. A little behind there. Go ahead.
I know what I want. I know who I am. I'm friendly and full of fun. I like to, what?
I'll talk.
What?
I'll talk. I'll let you lose your place. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll talk all day and run and play until the day is done. I love to pretend and put on a show. I'm a cheetah, a dog, or a mouse. But wherever I am, you'll know I am here by the noise I make around the house. I know what I want, and today it is purple from my head to the shoes on my feet. Purple bows, purple socks. Wait a second, that's not that.
That's not in there. We don't have that. Go ahead. Purple bows.
Purple bows, purple
Shirt.
purple. Okay, let's do that again. I know what I want, and today it is purple from my head to the shoes on my feet. Purple bows, purple shirt, purple socks, purple skirt. I'll be quite a sight to see. I'll do it myself. I'll do it my way. Don't be in a huff or a tizzy. Just stay by my side and hear what I say. I'll promise I'll keep you busy. I can figure it out. Just watch me and listen. Give me some time to think. My head's always spinning. There's so much to learn. I'll be grown up as quick as a blink. I love to be out in the trees and the grass, always looking for fun things to see. I'll walk through the garden, find good things to munch. I love to eat anything green. No meat for me, just broccoli and corn, asparagus right from the stalk. We can nibble on power foods on a bright sunny day while we go on our afternoon walk. Then sit with me as we sip our hot tea and chatter and play I Spy. Creating unicorns and fairies and fluffy white clouds while we watch the bees buzz by. I can sometimes be quiet, but just for a little. I like to talk a lot. But read me a story and I'll sit real still as my mind takes me into that spot. Ask me, teach me, let me dream. I'm creative and very clear. I know who I am and I'll tell you my thoughts if only you're willing to hear.
Now, this picture right here happens to be, how many of you have a dog? A lot. Well, Clara has a dog named Harley, and Harley came to our house to visit with the family. And Clara, I'll let you tell what happened then.
Yaya and me were walking and Harley started chasing a squirrel, and then the squirrel went up the tree, so Harley tried to climb the tree. And that's how we got the idea, what if it were possible the dog could climb a tree?
What if it were possible to climb like you and me? And it went from there. We had so much fun, didn't we? Lots of giggles. And tell them about all the fun we had.
So we started to sit down and think of all kinds of really cool, creative ideas for the book, and it was really silly.
It was silly and fun. You like to be silly sometimes, don't you? Well, we were silly. So here, we're going to show you, we don't have the book yet. The book we'll have in about 2 weeks. It's with a publisher and being printed, and it will be released in October of this year, in the fall. When you get back into school, about that time we'll have the book. We actually will have the book in hand in about 2 weeks, so it will be on her website and my website, but it's not going to be on Amazon and in the bookstores and libraries and so forth until in October. So this, Clara, tell about this.
This is the one that I did for the cover, but this is what the cover is really going to look like on the book.
Yeah, it'll be like this, isn't it? Didn't it turn out cute?
Yeah.
What if it were possible? And so then the rest of this is all watercolor pencils. Yes. If you take your color, now it's a certain kind of colored pencil. A lot of you have colored pencils, maybe all of you do. But colored pencil doesn't necessarily, it's not the same as a watercolor pencil, which looks just like a colored pencil, but then after you've put all the color on your page, you take a wet paintbrush and go over it, and it makes it like a watercolor picture.
And it makes it look
So she did that. These were watercolor pencil illustrations. So you can follow 1, 2, 3, and she's going to show you the pages of the book, but I'm going to read it to you, okay? Are we ready? Okay. What if it were possible for a dog to climb a tree? What if it were possible to climb like you and me? What if it were possible for a snail to win a race, to pass all other animals and rush from place to place? What if a swampy alligator could paddle a canoe? What if monkeys could talk to us? What if bugs could talk to us and monkeys had tattoos?
Anything can happen
when you think it might. If you think it might,
in
your imagination, anything is right. What if it were possible for bears to swing from trees and lions lived in beehives instead of all the bees? And what if it were possible for that a cheetah ran so slow, a sloth could pass it easily as slow as it could go? A turtle could play football and make a score or two. A horse could talk in sentences, and cows could wear pink shoes.
Anything can happen if you think it might. And in your imagination, anything is right.
What if it were possible a fish could drive a car? What if it were possible to catch a falling star? What if pretty butterflies could spread their wings and swim, and elephants could wear their trunks while working out at gyms?
Anything can happen if you think it might. And in your imagination, anything is right.
What if snakes wore dresses and danced around the house? And what if cats ate broccoli and never ate a mouse? What if it were possible that people lived in space and chimpanzees played baseball and ran from base to base? Anything can happen if you think it might. In your imagination, anything is right. What if it were possible to eat candy all the time and never get a tummy ache and grow to be just fine? What if it were possible that dolphins walked upright? And what if it were possible a frog could fly a kite? Anything can happen if you think it might. And in your imagination, anything is right. What if penguins wore purple polka-dotted suits and octopus liked lollipops and always wore green boots? And what if it were possible a pig could sing a song? What if it were possible he sang it all day long? What if monsters were always funny and never ever bad? And you never had an accident and you were never ever sad?
Anything can happen if you think it might. In your imagination, anything is right. Use your imagination in everything you do.
In your imagination, you can make it all come true. Thank you. Now, I want to ask Clara a couple things that I want her to answer for you. Who do you think needs to read this book and why?
I think everybody should read this book because I think it makes them a more interesting person, and you can make everything fun by using your imagination.
That's right. And what was the most difficult thing in writing this book together?
Some of the ones I tried to rush through, and they didn't look very good, so I had to redo them.
Yeah. And let's see, you redid about 4 of them, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what happens sometimes when you get in a hurry and you don't do it quite right. It's better to take your time, and even if you get tired of it, maybe walk away a little bit and then come back and get a little break in between. What was the most fun part of doing this project together?
I liked all the giggles we had when we were writing it and thinking of all of the ideas.
Yeah.
And I really liked doing the illustrations.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Now, like I said, Clara has been in the art class since she was 4 years old, and she's now 8 years old, soon to be 9. She'll be 9
in April.
In April, it's pretty soon. So she's got a birthday coming up. In the meantime, she's also been doing cards. Explain what kind of art this is and what you have here for the students.
I did the cards in Zentangle. This is also Zentangle. which these are coloring sheets that I can give to you. And I sell my Zentangle cards at Papa's events, and I also
Farmers market.
and at the farmers markets. If you buy them from somebody else or buy them from somebody else's website, then it costs a little more, so me and the person who's selling them can have an even amount of money when we sell them.
And you usually sell your cards for what? How much?
$1, $1 for one card and $10 for a dozen.
For a dozen cards, yes. So these are all cards that she makes with all of her drawings. And Zentangle, tell them a little bit about what Zentangle is.
It's kind of like doodling, but some of the ones I make up all by myself.
Yeah. So she has a lot of fun with just making a lot of designs.
Zentangle. And explain again, how do you do it?
It's Z-E-N Tangle, Zentangle. And Zentangle is, yeah, I call it doodling on steroids, but it's like taking doodles and, you know what a doodle is? Just making little marks and things and making designs. Making designs out of it. Let me give you a good example. Like, well, here's one where Clara did like a face and kind of almost like a tree, but it's her body, and then she does all these little designs. Clara, grab one and take it over and show it to the other side.
This is the first face I did.
And it's just a whole lot of doodles. Sometimes she adds color.
Look at that.
See?
She's your age. Okay? Remember we tell you that there's nothing you can't do?
Now, that's right, there is nothing you can't do if you believe in yourself and you just keep at it. Clara's been taking art for 4 years now. And she's come a long way from that little picture that I showed you in the book where her horse kind of looked like a horse, but now it's a lot better. She has some really good horse pictures. We just didn't think about bringing a lot of her art, so we didn't bring that today. But she's come a long way. But let me tell you something that's really exciting for Clara today, that's a new thing for her coming here today. Tell them, Clara. You don't know. What is it?
This is my first time in a school.
Well, you wouldn't know it.
Yeah. Clara is homeschooled. And she has been homeschooled and really been working on her education since she was born. And everybody teaches her. And what did you do in November? You spent a month where?
In Costa Rica.
She spent a month in Costa Rica, and they're getting ready to buy a motorhome, an RV, a trailer, to pull on the back of their truck so that they can go all over the United States. So, Clara, tell how that's an education for you.
Instead of sitting and reading a book about all the places in the world, you actually can get to go there.
Yeah. And so Clara's doing a lot of traveling and learning from a lot of different ways that are not just the normal. And so and her sisters are the same way. She has 2 younger sisters. So Clara does have this sheet for you. It has her website on it, her website address.
My website's not really finished yet, so if it's not there when you try to look for it, then it should be coming soon.
Yeah, you'll see like the landing page.
We're going to add all of the art that she has done, and she's going to have stories about every piece of art. Because that's the cool thing when you draw and you create, to then be able to share the story, which is why they started doing the books too.
So you will all get a coloring page, and also I have some cards up here on the table, and if you're interested in that, these cards take you to, has an address on it, to go to Rose Goss's website. She's my illustrator, remember? Except until Clara took over. But she was my illustrator. And Rose has a website that has the draw page on it. You can go there, it's free, and you can learn how to draw, and it takes you step by step. For instance, if you wanted to learn to draw a bumblebee, or some of the things that are pictures that are in our book, she shows you every step to do so that you can do it too, and it's all free. So you might want to go to her draw page and get those, just print them off, and you can learn how to draw just like Clara did. She used to do these draw pages too, didn't you, Clara? So now we'd like to know if you have any questions for us. Anybody? Yes.
Did Clara draw the coloring pages?
Yes, she did. She did those all by herself just in one afternoon a couple days ago, didn't you?
I did one of them, and then we copied it over and over again.
Yeah, we printed up a bunch. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I saw Zentangle, like a coloring book at a place,
Yes.
and I bought it.
Very good. You can learn a lot from that. In our art, she's old, and she learned a lot from that. But you can buy coloring books and all kinds of Zentangle things like at Hobby Lobby and places like that. Yeah. Yes.
I like how y'all like take photographs and like fit them in books and draw illustrations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We had a lot of fun doing it, and we hope to do more. I already wrote another one, and right away, Clara says, I'm doing the illustrations, and it's called The Trail of Shoes. And that one, I get lots of information from my grandchildren. And what happens when you're looking for your shoes? Where did I leave them last?
At
Where
somebody
are the
else's house, in the oddest place you could imagine.
Yes.
And sometimes the places that you're looking for are the oddest places, and they're actually in the not so oddest places.
They're sometimes just in the closet, but you didn't look there. So I wrote a book about The Trail of Shoes, and that'll come out next. But first we're going to work on getting this one out to everybody, and we hope that you'll enjoy reading it once it gets out to a real book.
Could you just tell them that you did things over more than once, one more time?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just reiterate on that one more time, please.
Yes.
Okay, listen.
Even in the writing, when we first did it, there were a lot of things that I thought, oh, this sounds great. And the more we thought about it, we thought, Like sometimes we would get the same thing. We'd talk about a frog in one part, and then we talked about a frog again, and we wanted it to be different. So we kept going back, and we changed a lot of the wording at different times. And then Clara did, I should have just brought you the ones, I didn't think to bring the ones that you redid. But we can show you which ones we redid.
Yeah.
There was this one, for instance.
This one.
She did that one.
That's so.
And here's the other thing. The
That was
more
actually
you
my
do
book
it,
that I copied and colored there.
huh? Yeah, you did that
Yeah.
as a Zentangle then. Here's the thing. Sometimes the more you do something over and over and over again, the better that you get. Yes. And with art, I've been taking art lessons for about 15 years or more, actually. And every teacher I've had has said, if the more you do it over and over again, the better you will get. And so Clara, one second, I want to say something. The first girl she did like this, it was pretty pathetic. It was, wasn't it? We looked back at it later and we thought, oh, that just doesn't look good. So she redid it just recently.
I like this one more.
Yeah.
Like that better?
Tell another one that she
That one
redid.
didn't look. This one didn't really look like a Zentangle.
No. And then you redid this one.
That's neat.
I redid this one. Is this? Yeah.
Let me explain to you why we had to redo this one. This one wasn't because this one was bad, but when you're doing a book, right down the center of the book is where the crease is, see? There's staples in here. So if you have, for instance, a house right in the middle,
It's gonna get lost.
that's not gonna work.
But
So we had to spread it out and make it a 2-page spread. Yes?
some of them are 2-page spreads. Some of them are 2-page spreads, which are these ones. So that's why there's 2 on there. But this one, there's not going to be a line in the middle. That's one side of it.
That's one.
This will be the other side.
Exactly. Like this would be a 2-page spread. See, the picture goes all the way across?
But
Let's see.
Neat. You guys remember that when you write your books, okay?
Well, there's a lot of 2-page spreads in here.
yeah.
Isn't that neat?
Well, wait. I think I found one.
You don't wanna keep it.
But this isn't a 2-page spread.
Yeah, that's 2 different pictures. So she did 30 over 30 pictures total, I guess. Actually, more than that if you count the redos. Some of them had to just be made larger. We just didn't do them the right size. 34, I think. Yeah, I think it was.
No, wait, but this one. Well,
Oh, we forgot to explain this little part right here. Right there. This right here, on every page that when she and I said, anything can happen if you think it might.
And your
Imagination, anything is right.
This is
Each page that has that, yes, go ahead.
Each page that has that will have this picture on it.
So this picture will be in there more than once.
When you repeat the.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I want to see that more than once because I only saw it once.
Yeah, I didn't make the extras, and the reason I didn't is because my printer is given out on me, and it didn't make a very good print, so I just did one.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes things just don't work right, so you just make do, don't you?
Can you problem solve?
Yes, we
Yeah,
make a
it's
problem.
a good problem
Do you know
solver.
that our kids, by the way, you should know that this is Clara's mother. This is my daughter. She's our youngest child, and Clara is her oldest child. So we have 3 generations here. I was going to say something about that, and you totally lost my train of thought. Yes, did you have a question? No, you're stretching. Okay, anybody else? Okay. We had a great time. Yeah.
I didn't really have a question, but I love to draw a lot. I draw pretty much anything. I just really draw different things, like I draw movie things, I draw book things, I draw things.
That's great. I know what I was going to say. The more you do it, this is not what I was going to say, but I'll get back to that. The more you do it, the better you will get, and you're not too young to start now. Look at this, 8 years old, and she's going to be a published illustrator author. That's awesome. Every one of you can do this. One of the things I was going to say, I'll get you in just a second, is that in our family with the kids growing up, we didn't have problems. We had opportunities for solutions. An opportunity for a solution. So what kind of a solution can we come up? How can we take care of this issue instead of it just being a problem? Because a problem sounds so negative and not fun. But an opportunity for a solution. Let's get real creative about how we come up with an answer to that, okay? That's the way we deal with it. How about anybody else? We finished?
Okay, what do we do? What do we say? And every class, we counted out. So we have some for all 3 classes, and we'll give them to you when your teacher will give it to you when it's appropriate. Okay? All right. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We enjoyed it.
Makes you want to go back and what?
Right.
Right and God, doesn't it?
And you can do it.
Or redo something. Okay.